Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Thought4Food. We are so excited to have you here. If we have not met before, my name is Alanna Fero, and it is my great honor to be Copia's Chief Inspiration Officer. Copia just had its very first birthday, not 2 weeks ago. Many of the people here were present for that celebration. We had a great time. And now we're looking to bigger and better enterprises and events and more community and capacity building in this next year. And Thought4Food was our way of kicking that off. What is more important in our lives than how we feed our bodies? Thank you. We can have more of that anytime. I'll take hooting, hollering, clapping, whistling, anything you would like to do. We would like to encourage the participation of everybody. So did people have some really delicious bites as they were wandering the room tonight? Yes? Yes? Who says natural and organic and nutrient-rich can't also be delicious, right? Absolutely. That's what we are fundamentally here to prove and have people enjoy. Before I talk about food and let all these people talk about different ways that our food comes to us, I want to tell you, because I know there are a lot of people, because of the food interest, who are coming out the first time and they don't really know anything about Copia yet. So first of all, Copia is Latin for abundance. That's where our name came from. And we firmly believe that in a recessionary economy and in changing times, it's never been more important than it is right now to hold a consciousness of abundance and indeed to be advocates for conscious business and conscious career. And so at Copia, we run a minimum of 4 events per month, sometimes as many as 6. In our first year, we did 72 events. So the math on that says we're doing more than 4 a month overall. Sometimes we collaborated with other people. I think we organized 65 ourselves, and then the others were organized by other people, but we brought our peeps out. We do 2 networking roundtables a month, and our next networking roundtable is tomorrow. So if you have a business you would like to promote, if you are in career transition and you would like to get some support on that, it's a great place to come and have lunch and make some connections. You get a chance to stand up, talk about what it is that you're looking for, and more importantly, why you're looking for it, because we're really less interested in what you want to do or what you sell than why you care, what your mission is, what your purpose is. When we understand that, we can figure out how to help you. So you can join us at the Sutton Place tomorrow. We do a couple of free educational events a month typically. We usually do a conscious career event plus invite some speakers in to chat with people in our ING Cafe series. And then we do a couple of larger scale events that are ticketed and have cool venues and sponsors and fun things like this going on. But this is the in this 3-part series, this is the largest thing that we've attempted to do. And it really came from, how many of you met Charlie James on your way in? Or she called you, or she brought you here? Yes. Lots of love for Charlie and none more than from me. And so we were sitting and talking over food, because that's what we like to do. And she said, maybe we should do something about food. And so I took that, ran about 5,000 yards down the field with it, and then handed it back to her to do. And she's done an absolutely outstanding job of it. And for me, the whole passion for food business started really, really young. My dad was a chef. And he worked nights, so he was often home with me in the daytime. And from the time I was 2 years old, I was cooking beside him. And without exaggeration, when I was 5 years old, I was able to make a 3-course dinner for the entire family. And I don't mean, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I mean like real food. I could roast the chicken. I'm vegan now, but in those days I could roast the chicken. I could stuff it with garlic and lemon and put the fresh rosemary on it and do all of those things at like 5 and 6 years of age. But I was more fascinated, not by my father's cooking, but by food businesses he had before I was born. And true story, 3 years old, I'm digging around in the basement and I come across a box of labels. And I don't know what they say. Obviously I'm 3, I can't read, right? But they have my dad's picture on them. So I go and I see my mom and I bring her all these things, which to me look like playing cards. I'm trying to figure out why Go Fish and Old Maid has my dad's face on it. And I go to see my mom and I say, what are these? And she says, well, your dad used to have a marinated mushroom company. It was called Chef Raimondo's Marinated Mushrooms. And I said, well, what does that mean? Well, his mushrooms used to be sold in the store. My dad was in Safeway? That was like the coolest thing that I could imagine. Not that he was like a Golden Gloves boxer, not that he had, probably the previous week made dinner for Trudeau when he visited BC, but no, that he was on the commercial childhood, right? Growing up with television and all this. It mattered to me that my dad was on a shelf in Safeway. So I immediately packed up all the labels, walked out onto the street corner. We lived on number 2 road in Richmond in those years, so there was lots of people going by, and there was a farmer's market there, and I stood on the street corner and handed people the labels and said, "That's my dad." and I was interrupting the business of the market because people were going into the store to try and find my dad's marinated mushrooms, which was a business that he was not able to continue because I came along. And he did not have the business support or the business skills to feel safe leaving his job and the benefits and take care of his family at the same time. He didn't know how to be a food entrepreneur. And over my childhood, that actually happened 3 separate times, that my dad came up with a recipe and he had an idea and he bottled it and he talked his way into the stores and he did his demos and he got people to like it and buy it. And he was staying up until 3 o'clock in the morning, bottling things or bagging things and packaging things. And it came time to quit his job and go full-time into the business, and each and every time he looked at his kids and he looked at his wife and he looked at the mortgage and he said, "I can't do that," and he shelved it until he retired at 65. And what you can see here in this bottle, Fero's Gourmet Seasoning Salt, was born, and I actually still have a teeny weeny little bit of seasoning in the bottle here. Dad managed to get this in every Super Value, every Overweighty, every Safeway, every IGA, and a whole bunch of butcher shops and vegetable markets. It was actually making enough money that he was helping me pay for university. He was able to do some repairs on the car, take my mom on a cruise, things that had just never been a part of my life as a kid. But then he turned to me, I'm 21, I'm coming out of undergrad, going into grad school, and says, "Do you want the business?" "Dad, I really don't see myself being in the seasoning salt business." At that point, I was working on a PhD in English literature. And so I said, "No." And so he said, "Well, I don't want this to be nothing. I don't want it to be nothing. There has to be a legacy. I've worked my whole life at this." He's now 74 years old, and he just wanted something for the business. So he found a buyer, and he was so excited because this was going to continue. And 2 weeks after the sale, he found out that he'd been bought by an agent of a competitor who was just going to kill the business and make sure that they couldn't do anything to their brand. My dad didn't have the business skills to run a foodie business. And I may not have wanted to take over a foodie business, but when I made my commitment to social venture and spirit venture and conscious career into Copia, I made a commitment to finding a way that we could support food businesses. And that's where Thought4Food came from. And that's what we're going to do tonight. And then again on May 21st. And then again when you come back on June 18th. We're going to have people get to a place where they can leave their day jobs, where their kids can be super proud of whatever it is that they're presenting on the shelf or in a restaurant or in the farmer's market or at booths like these, because these are the people who feed us. And because Copia is about doing things in a holistic way, we wanted to show the full cycle of food and the full cycle of business. So tonight, what's growing on, we're featuring the people who grow our food and who have found incredibly innovative ways to grow that food, as well as natural and sustainable ones, and may I add, delicious ones. I love bread so much. I begged Charlie, can you call him? Can you call him? Can you see if he'll come? Please, blueberry juice, can they come? And I've been a customer, actually, of everyone here that I could be a customer of, and I've been a fan of what Alanna's doing since I heard about it, and I've been completely jealous of people who've had a meal cooked by Georgia, and we'll just wait to see when I get a chance to have some of your food at some point. So tonight we want to focus on the people who are bringing the food from the land to us. Second part of the series will focus on the people who are putting food in bottles and on shelves and getting it into your home. And then the third part of our series will be focusing on locavore restaurants and the relationships between growers and a farm-to-table and ocean-wise movement. I am humbled and stunned at the caliber of the people who've agreed to come here and present as part of this series. And I'm not going to spend too much more time before I let you talk to them. But there is something that I always like to do to get the energy up when we've always asked people to sit down, is we need a little Q&A, and this goes back to my college professor days before I did this. Who can tell me what Copia's tagline is? Maggie, catch. Lots of food sponsors. We're throwing some stuff out here. All right, what does where higher self bottom line mean to anybody? Give me an answer. There's not a right answer, just give me an answer. What does where higher self meets bottom line mean to you or anyone? Come on. Yeah, what do you got?
You can do business while following your values.
Are you going to catch this for me? Move Dad's cup out of the way. Can you do this? All right. I love the people who brought their kids here tonight. I think that's such a huge testament to what it is that we're trying to do and build community. All right, what else can you do when higher self meets bottom line? Can you catch that far back? Can I throw that far back? Can you do this? Someone else will I throw like a girl. This is embarrassing. I need some people in the front 3 rows to answer me. Let's see, what else can we talk about? What does GMO mean and why is it bad? Why is it bad, Jennifer? Why is it bad? It's not a silly question. Why is it bad? Because we don't actually know what's in the food when we start messing around with it, and we don't know how it's going to mess with our bodies, right? We want to talk about this because we have some people tonight who are going to talk about food sex, how we mate naturally different streams of food in a way that's healthy, that's organic, that's good for us, and isn't actually making frankenfoods that are going to make all of us sick. You can come up here and get this because I don't know that I can actually throw that far. All right. Tonight would not be possible without our amazing sponsors. Indigo just did a tremendous amount of work for us and hooking us up with a number of their clients and friends and associates and brought a huge amount of food out here for us tonight. Choices Markets has also sent a lot of product and opened doors for us to make this happen. It's not easy when you're only a 1-year-old organization knocking on people's doors and asking them to participate. You need some thought leaders who other people know to say, yeah, no, we've talked to them, they're cool, you should take their call, you should respond to that email, and they did us that gift. The Social Venture Institutes that are put on by Hollyhock, and there's a series coming up May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. If you don't know about it, you should check that out. One email from Joel Solomon, as some of you know, will open an absolute 100 doors for you in this city, and they got behind us really amazingly. But no one was quicker to say yes and faster to write us a check than Van City. And in just a moment, we are going to... Are my lights off? We're good to go? All right, in just a moment we're going to show you a video of how Van City helps one of our speakers companies here tonight to make good money. And while our projector's warming back up for us to be able to do that, it's a really blinding light up here, so I wanted it off for a second, but we'll get the projector warmed up again. We also want to let you know how you can let other people know about the cool time that you're having here tonight. Copia is at Copia Van on Twitter. Our hashtag is also Copia Van, and we also have a hashtag that is T4F, standing for Thought4Food. If you take some pictures, if you hear somebody say something really cool tonight, you want to share it with your peeps, you got your phones in your hand, some of you can't put them down anyway, do something amazing and cool with it so that we can help raise the profile of the businesses being represented here tonight and the people who have been so generous to share their time with us. All right, so we want to take a moment to say a big thank you to Van City while they give an amazing profile to Alteris.